What's up YouTube? This is Petrol Enthusiast coming back at you again with another vlog style review about my 2001 CL600. I just recently did the same type of video with my 2005 RX-8 GT and turned out pretty good, so I'll try a second try with this type of format with this type of review. I already made two similar types of reviews about this particular car. It seems to be a very hot topic in my video lineup, which is getting a lot of attention. So I thought I'd finish it off with, one last one, my final thoughts about the CL600 w215 and why I purchased this instead of getting some of the things I could have had. At the time, I had my CLK W208, I had my 2005 RX-8 GT, and I had a Mazda Miata 1994 1.8 SE. It was the first addition to incorporate the 1.8 engine in, which was pretty good, and it had the pop-up headlights. It was an NA, and I loved it. I loved it to death. And it was a choice between, when you get to that point where you have the cars that you've upgraded or modified to a point to where you don't know really what else to do, with the build. Like with the Miata, I already had the suspension, mods, the slight engine modifications, and it was at its limit. And with my W208, my CLK, I already put on the body kit, slapped on the aggressive rims, and it just gave it a very aggressive look. And it was already at its point to where it's like I didn't feel like I needed to do anymore with both cars, because they already reached their full potential in my mind. So I started, going online and asking a friend of mine that's a car auction type of a dealership where he goes and looks at car auctions and looks at the inventory that comes in and picks out what he wants in his his dealership to be on sale. So I was kind of just inquiring about him about some of the cars that I was looking at. I was looking at a mid-2000 Cayman S, if possible a FD RX-7, and a AMG CLK style. I think it was CLK 50. Yeah, an AMG CLK. I don't know if it was a 55 or I'm not sure what the serial number was, but those were the three cars that I was looking for. And those three came up in the inventory that he was telling me he was going to be looking at in about a month or so. So I made a decision on myself to sell the Miata and the 320, the W208 Mercedes. I sold those two for a pretty fair price. I got what I got from them because of the mods that I put in, and I wanted it to go to a owner that would really take care of the car the way I did. I just didn't sell it to anybody who I felt, I didn't really need the money. And I wanted the owner to know how much time I put into both cars and value them the way I valued, them. So I sold both cars, and I had a decent amount of money, to play with. And just as when my buddy was telling me, hey, what do you want to do? I got these three that you were looking for, and they're here. You tell me when. I'll place a bid on them and I'll get you at a cost. And I was like, cool. So I started, pondering a little bit, and then he showed me this one particular Mercedes model. And he knows, the type of things that attract me to a car. It was very rare. There wasn't too many of these made, and it was a V12. And I've never, seen or heard or rode in a V12, or actually, had interest in acquiring a V12. So he told me the particular model. I started looking into it, and it really caught my attention because, it wasn't there wasn't that many made between 2000 and 2001 in this particular model. It was a V12. It was a luxury coupe. It had so many amenities that were just so long to list, for 2001. And it got my attention even more. And then when the 4 cars finally came, to the auction, and he was telling me, he goes, what do you want me to do? So I took, what I was feeling at the time and what I wanted. I mean, all the other cars that I've mentioned, I had interest in. But, this particular one, I was like, I want to get this. It feels like something I want to have in my bucket list that, yeah, you know what? I do have a V12. I was able to get it, and it's in pretty good condition for the price that I'm going to be getting it for. At first, when I first saw it, it had the stock, AMG rims that were offset. I believe they were 18 by 3/4. Kind of, standard front, and then kind of wide in the back. It looked pretty stock. But then, like, when they rolled it out, and I actually saw it for the first time, I was like, so yeah, that's something I could see myself rolling in. It's got that flair that has potential to where you could get, something that you could get used to. It's something that's not common, which, I said about my RX-8. So I told him to bid on that, and and he told me, like, whatever, you just pay me $500, and we'll be even trade. You take the pink, and then whatever, we'll do all the paperwork. So it got down to the point to where, I had the slip in my hand, it was paid for, and I drove it home. And that was the first time where, that I felt that, I didn't need a fast car, because I was so used to, being around, fast cars and that type of platform. I mean, this was the first car that actually, caught really my attention to, if you're just going to, like, drive around or go to a nice spot or just cruise around, I mean, this car, can't go wrong. And I'm glad I made the decision that I did to pick this car over, the FD, the Cayman S, and the CLK AMG. I did some slight mods to it to get it out of the the look that it currently had, because the current look that it had, it looked like it was out of date. From the grille to the front skirt and the back diffuser, which it didn't have, and the grille. And slowly but steady, I started, reading on it and just kind of learning a little bit about the car, which made me more comfortable on working on it. And I heard a lot of that this particular model had, a bad reputation about, maintenance issues, the ABC unit, going bad, and like when you take it in, astronomical, costs to get it, maintained, which is true. I mean, there are a lot of things on this particular car that if you don't, do the preventive maintenance to it, it'll catch up to you. So what I did, with everything that I purchased, I always look at the maintenance records, making sure that everything in the car was done, all the recalls were performed, and it didn't get into no accidents or any type of major issues to where it would, flag the car, on the pink slip. So that's one thing that I was glad that this car was clean. It had a clean title. There was nothing wrong with it. So as I started, learning more about the car and getting comfortable about, making adjustments here, I did my first mod to it, which was the aromatic lowering links. These links replace the stock ABC adjuster arms to where they're adjustable, to where you could lower the car and raise the car to your appropriate settings. I felt that that was the first mod that I did, that I wanted to do, and I was capable of doing. It was pretty easy. I looked up the instructions. The guy that sold me, this particular modification to this car said it was easy. Just be careful because there's a lot of parts and sensors there that are made out of plastic and they're real weak. So you just have to be real attentive to like what you're removing and what you're returning in. And it made the difference between being as high as a pickup truck to driving at a nice, comfortable lowered stance, which you see right now. She's at her lowest setting right now, which is in her park, where the tires are just nice and tucked in, the fender well, and I love it. I got rid of the stock rims, and I sold them for a pretty decent price. I didn't even know how much they were worth until, I looked them up, and there was no scratches on them, no nothing. They were brand new tires, and I got them. I sold them on Craigslist, and the guy that was buying it off me thought I was giving him a deal, but I could have sold them for more, but they were used, so I was trying to get as much money as I think I got a decent amount for them, and that developed into a little bit more mods. The front spoiler, which is a Sauron front spoiler kit that I bought, and it was just a bolt-on. That was pretty easy. And then the rear diffuser is also a Sauron, Sonara or Sauron. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. I'll put the link below to if you have the same particular car, to get this particular aesthetic for the exterior. And pretty much, there hasn't been any major issues. I mean, with the car, I've owned the car for more than almost 2 years now. I got it 2 years ago on my birthday. I felt that was a good birthday present for me to get. So I did get it. Other than, aesthetic wise, I mean, I didn't really touch the engine. I felt there was a decent enough power in the V12 that, that's housing this chassis. And, all you got to do is just, put your foot on the pedal and you just go. No questions asked. I mean, it just goes. The gas isn't too great, on this, just like my RX-8. I believe I get about 12 to 14 city, 18 to 22 or 20, highway, and that's terrible. But the engine's smart to where if you're not gunning it too much, it'll shut off one side of the engine and it'll only run half the engine. You can't beat that. As long as you don't have a heavy foot. I don't. I try not to. But I'm pretty much satisfied with the pick that I chose instead of opting for those other three, because this car is just elegance on wheels. I've never seen a platform to where you could tell the age of some models and the vehicles, the way they age. They don't age real good. But for this particular Mercedes, with this platform and just the slight mods that you put on the exterior, I mean, she looks so refreshed and up to date. I love this car, and I wouldn't have bought an FD. I wouldn't have bought a CLK AMG or the Cayman S. I'm glad I made this purchase, because a lot of those cars are very common, except maybe not too common, but they're common. But this particular, model between 2000 and 2003, or no, 2002, this could be iffy, but there was only, between those times, there was about 1,600 units that were brought from the U.S. with just a V12 NA, and I happened to have one of them that only had, at the time when I bought it, 56K on it. And this is a 2001. One owner. And I think I was pretty lucky on that. It was pretty much a corporate car that they used to shuttle around their Patreons and their VPs and stuff. And I'm just glad I was able to have her now. And like I said before, you could hear all the drama, all the bad stuff about any particular car because people weren't doing the maintenance on it and the preventative maintenance. Once you start doing that, the car, it can't go wrong unless you hit something or something environmental impacts the car, and yeah, you know what happens there. Overall, if you happen to get into one of these or come across one of these, I would, get it if you could do it. There's not a lot of cars out there that have this particular look. A lot of them have this nice refreshed look, which is cool, but they all look the same. All cars are manufactured. They all have the same, exterior. But for some reason, this particular Mercedes just doesn't look that. It doesn't portray that. It doesn't show its age, and I'm glad it doesn't with the minor mods that I put in. I mean, where are you going to find a car these days that have a reliable V12? Or, as I stated in my other reviews on this car, where you have a pillarless, window. I mean, both sides of driver and passenger have no pillar. It looks very elegant, and this car doesn't even make me want to drive fast. I mean, I like to be in comfort, like when I cruise in this. I got the heated seats on. I got the massage seats on. I got I'll cut this out. The rear screen where I have my privacy. And it's like, ain't nothing like it. I don't know. This is just my opinion on this car. And as I stated before, I had options, but I chose this. And I'm glad I did, because it really changed me to value your own decision, and didn't matter what anybody else said on the internet, YouTube, forums and stuff. You could take any platform and make it to any way you want it. I mean, you can, and this is proof, because they were calling this a grandpa car, but after I got done with it, with the platform that I saw, I mean, does that look like a grandpa car? No, I don't think so. So this is Petrol Enthusiasts. Again, thanking my new subscribers and people that are liking my videos with similar opinions, and make comments below on the bottom, good or bad. I'm an open book. Like I said, I'm a car enthusiast. I love to hear from anybody that has the same type of experience as me, and loves their passion about cars. Because the only person that's going to stop you on your build is you. Don't let anybody else influence what you want to do with your build. Do it for yourself. Do it for you and the things what you want to put on a car. Don't listen to all those people that label people online. They're just critics, as I said. All right. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe. It really helped me in my hobby that is a hobby right now, but I'm looking into making it more than a hobby, like everybody else. And I do enjoy doing what I do. And hopefully some of my vids help you in the problems that I come across between these two cars. Help you in if you do have the same similar problems. This is Petrol Enthusiast saying thank you, and have a good night.